technologies applied, there will be minimum generation of waste that is there. But we are not getting such results. Theoretically, everything is possible. But the real picture is that Nagarpalikas and Mahanagarpalikas are unable to decide the land where the waste must be brought and kept for treatment. Public awareness is also not there that waste should be segregated, separately given, should not be thrown anywhere the like. We have designed one format in Gujarat for monthly uploading by all Nagarpalikas and Mahanagarpalikas, that first please give the location of the site which you have decided for the waste collection. If the site is not there, question does not arise that where you will put the waste and where you will treat. Then we ask another information that what is the quantity of the waste accumulated on the first day of the month, and what is the quantity of the accumulated MSW waste on the last day of the month, and during the month how much quantity you have treated, whether electricity is generated, fertilizer is generated, some other treatment is done. Please provide this information every month to us. But it is not encouraging. Nagarpalikas, Mahanagarpalikas, though they have ID, but they are unable to supply this information. So this is our status of implementation of MSW rules. But I am not going to talk on these details of the rules, implementation and technologies needed. I would like to touch very fundamental basic things. Why such status is there? Why such status prevails in the society? After all, we are worried for the environment. These wastes pollute the environment. And all environmental rules are under main act, Environment Protection Act. So first concept of environment must be clear. What should be environment? That we should very clearly understand. We know the definition of environment given in the EP Act. It runs like that environment includes land, water and air, and their interrelationship with each other. If water is polluted, land may be polluted. If water is polluted, air may be polluted. If air is polluted, water, land can be polluted. Their interrelationship with each other and their impact on man, animal, birds, vegetable, plantation, any living organism. So this legal definition includes only three ingredients or three parts or three resources: land, water and air. But see the definition given in our Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Krishna said to Arjuna in the 4th stanza of the 7th chapter, defining this environment itself, Bhumi rapo nalo vayuhu kham mano buddhirevacha ahankar iti yamme bhinna prakriti rastadha. God described his astadha prakriti, eightfold nature. This stanza says that there are two forms of the God. One is visible, one is invisible. The invisible form of the God is Atma or soul, which no one can see except the Krupa of the God. So invisible form of the God is invisible, we cannot see it. But the visible form of the God is also described by the God, saying that my visible form is known as Prakriti. Prakriti is Paryavaran, and that is the environment. Now God has stated 8 elements, but we will see only 5. Which God has said? Pancha Mahabhuta. Land, water and air, but energy and space is also said. God says that this Prakriti, which is visible to all of you, is made of 5 basic elements, or we can say 5 main resources given by God. And land, water and air we know. But space is also there. Suppose there is no space, where this land, water and air will stand? Where they will expand? Water, air and air. Suppose there is no space. And suppose there is no energy at all. Is livelihood or existence of this land, water and air is possible? Suppose this solar energy is not coming from the sun. What will get birth? Nothing is possible. Suppose there is darkness, there is no sun, there is no utilization of land, water and air at all. So what I mean to say, the definition given in Gita of environment, we have to keep in our mind. This visible form of the God is environment. And therefore, we cannot pollute this visible form of the God. It is like idol. It is like murti in the mandir. So land, water, air, space and energy are the visible form of the God. And if it is accepted that this is really the environment, we cannot think to pollute it. We cannot think it to contaminate. We cannot think it to spoil it. So this concept of environment must be kept in mind. And if we will understand this concept and follow, I think it will be useful to us. But we are polluting the environment, though we know it, what is the environment. Again, the warning is given by our ancient advices. If we will pollute this environment, if we will spoil this visible form of the God, what can happen? Hatva cha prakrutim esham atmanasham karisyasi tada jagritam bho purushah sanyamya tava pravrittim. This warning given by our forefathers we have to again kept in mind. Hatva cha prakriti mesha means by killing this environment, atmanasham karisyasi, you will kill yourself. Therefore, jagratam bho purusha, oh man, you awake. And what you should do? Sanyamya tava pravrittim, you control your activities. We are not controlling activities. We want so many things. We have so many desires. We are utilizing all resources in a way we like. This will not give us the zero pollution state. Sanyamya tava pravrittim, the word control is stated, and the word control is also used in all pollution control boards. Control. We advise, we discuss technologies to control, but are we really controlling? Then what can happen? That is also stated. Trushnana jirnaha vayameva jirnaha. It's important, this sentence is most important. Trushna na jirnaha vayameva jirnaha. Desires do not end. We end on one day. Death comes and we will end. Even then, Trushna na jirnaha. This is the reason of creation of pollution and everything. Bhogana bhuktaha vayam eva bhuktaha. We cannot enjoy everything. We cannot utilize everything. We ourselves will be utilized one day. So these golden, these ancient advices are most important. We are wise people. We talk wisely. We know everything. We know that this environment must be kept, and even a student in the 3rd standard knows what is environment. Now this the subject of environment is taught from the primary 3rd standard to ME environment, MSc environment, PhD environment, even certificate course in environment also. Everybody knows. But even then, why we are polluting environment? Why we need to organize the seminar for the studies on pollution of MSW? The reason is also given in our ancient history. The best example is the last scene of the Mahabharata, like the last scene of Indian picture, Hindi picture rather. Duryodhana was in the deathbed. He was attacked by him, legs were broken, he was unable to stand, and last moment of the deaths were there. At that time, Sri Krishna, five Pandavas, Krupacharya, who were left at the end of the battle, went there and asked Duryodhana one question. Oh Duryodhana, now you are going to die. These are your last moments. Can you tell us, were you not knowing what is dharma and what is adharma? So you practice throughout the life adharma and adharma only. You, all your brothers, Kauravas and Pandavas were the students of the same teacher, Dronacharya. Dronacharya told you the same thing. But why did Yudhishthira and Pandava practice dharma and you and your brothers did not practice dharma? Were you not knowing what is wrong, what is right? What did you do? And why did you do? We want to know. Very important question for all of us. And Duryodhana replied at the last moment of his life, and that is the truth. And then we will have to think where we stand. Duryodhana replied, Janami dharmam. I know what is dharma. Nacha me pravrutti, but I cannot practice it. Janami dharmam. I know what is wrong. Nacha me nivrutti, but I cannot live it. I cannot retire from that. So Duryodhana said, what is wrong, what is right, everything knows. But he was unable to practice dharma. He was unable to practice good things. He was knowing also is wrong, but he was unable to do it. Now think, where do we stand? Are we standing for Duryodhana or are we standing for Yudhishthira? When we are not following the rules of environment, when we are not following the statutory requirements, we are like Duryodhana. And this is the only reason why this pollution is being increased, despite of laws and so many boards for control, despite of so many seminars and technologies and advices and papers and R&D, everything. We want to try to control this, but even then pollution is increasing. It is good that we are worrying, we are doing all good practices, that is good part of it. But if we do not pollute the environment, if we do not generate the waste, it will be easy for us to control. So these are some ancient advices and basic concepts for understanding status of environment, warning what will happen if you not keep it clean, and reason why we are not following the rules to keep the environment safe. The reason is said by the written in Mahabharata, and it must be kept in our mind, and we must decide we have not to go on the path of Duryodhana, we have to go on the path of Yudhishthira. I think we will do it. You will understand the requirement of laws, requirement for keeping the environment clean, green and safe. So I thought this basic concept is always required at the time of discussion of all types of subjects on environment. Therefore I narrated it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mistry, for the philosophical angle, for adding the philosophical angle to this meeting early. And we hope thinking from that angle will be very important in improving public participation in day-to-day waste management activities. And now I invite Dr. Arvind Dubey and to speak. So we'll be using a bell to remind speakers about the time limit. And this might seem a little disrespectful, but this is only to the time of the participants for the majority. And I hope the panelists will accept there. Thank you very much.
Distinguished chairman of the session, distinguished delegates on dais, outside the dais, it's my pleasure to stand before you and share a little bit what I have experienced in last 1 year as chairman Pollution Control Board Assam. Basically, I am a forester, served in forest service, knowing one aspect of the environment, not the waste part of this environment. I am really impressed what my predecessor, Chairman Gujarat Pollution Control Board, has said from our logical books. especially Bhagavad Gita, how it is said. And I am happy to say, I got impressed because recently I had been learning Gita. So from there, I am also inspired. I will not go into that part. I will straightway come what I have seen in Assam. Is because in the first session we could understand lot about the global scenario, global initiatives within the country, and my talk is very limited, especially to the state of Assam. I happened to go Assam for the first time in 1984. So whatever I have seen in last 30 years, actually Assam was most environment friendly state till 2000. Till there was least generation of waste because of not many industries being in the state. And it may be surprising to all of you to know that plastics were also very less in use up to 2000. People did not bother what impact it is going to make in coming 10 years. And correlating my experience in forest department, especially I have been in research and working plan wing, so all the time I look at a thing from research point of view. In pollution control board also, I could link how the groundwater is being polluted because of human activities. And as my recent interest is actually to synergize the activities of different government departments to tackle this problem. This municipal solid waste, I admit I do not know much about this, but I can say with certainty that approach towards treatment of municipal solid waste, as in the first session was pointed out by Professor Patrick from Canada and other speakers. It may vary from town committee, municipal board, municipal corporation to each place to place. The latest situation in Assam is like this. We have only one municipal corporation, about 20 municipal boards and about 53 town committees. We have waste treatment facility only at Guwahati in collaboration with Ramki group. I happen to see how it is functioning, and after visiting that site, I could guess nothing much is being done. Out of 500 ton municipal waste generated per day, it has the capacity of composting of only 50 metric ton. So, it is not going to serve the environmental concern this way. And Guwahati has developed only in last 15 years. Till 15 years before, it was just like any other small town. And the urbanization has been totally unplanned. Even if today I wish that the waste generated from each and every household can be we can take steps to collect, very difficult, because municipal corporation vehicles, trucks, rickshaws, thellas, they can't reach up to every ward or every this household of the city. So what I feel, if we should look what Mistry Sahab had said, the basic principle of environmental conservation is not to disturb. So here best would be not to generate the waste. Or, but this is in this developing economy and the way our country is going, it will not be possible that waste is not generated. Certainly, when industry is contributing a lot to your economic growth, waste is bound to be generated. So, how to go about this waste? I think there has to be two different approaches to be introduced, and the first is in situ treatment of the waste. When you cannot collect, transport waste from each nook and corner of a municipal body, the one approach which comes to my mind is in situ. Every block or every ward or every should have the facility for treatment of this waste or minimize the generation of the waste. Second is this ex situ where we can have landfills, etc. But the most serious problem in cities, particularly like Guwahati, I will say entire this valley part of UP, Bihar, Bengal and Assamese, land is not available even for developing more landfill sites. People are migrating from villages towards cities, and places where landfills were created, they all have become occupied by the people. The government has not such a strong willpower to resist the people not to settle around these places. So, two different approaches, in situ and ex situ treatment of this waste, to my mind, is very much crucial. And particularly in densely populated localities of the city, where there used to be one house in a plot of say 2.5 kotha, now multi-storied buildings have come. In place of one family, now 30 families are residing. And to that point, the municipal corporation cannot send the men to collect the waste. So, for each and every such type of thing, these housing complexes, I feel in situ treatment through these plasma incinerators would may be thought of. And how far I will be correct in this? Actually, I have ordered for installation of one as a demonstration exercise. And in Guwahati, it is going to be installed, I think, by mid of March. And if really it satisfies the people, at least I think all the housing complexes which are going to come, it may be made a mandatory condition. We from Pollution Control Board, we can make it mandatory for nursing homes, etc. Because as Mistri Saab said, rules are very much there, very difficult to enforce. And very often, people tend to violate it. Action is taken only when you catch hold of this. The strength of boards are also limited. So, what I think, this will be more this appropriate to force them to install such facilities. Or as far as this ex situ treatment, we may think of many options like generation of energy from waste, all those things which had been discussed in first seminar. They will be relevant for this. But for in situ treatment, the plasma incinerators and many other technologies are available, I think. So my purpose of attending this second seminar is only to know more about it so that I can have many other options which can be tried for in situ waste treatment. Thanks to all of you for patient listening to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dubey, Dr. Dubey. We didn't have to use the bell. So I now invite Mr. Prakash Patil. He's from the Mumbai Municipal Corporation, and he'll speak now about the issues and challenges that they're facing. Thank you.
Honorable Chairman, dignitaries on dais, delegate friends, the organizers, and all of you. I am Prakash Patil. I am Deputy Commissioner in Mumbai Municipal Corporation, in charge of Solid Waste Management Department. Recently, I have taken over it. Sir, our Chairman, Mistry Sir, has taken some examples from the Gita, and he spoke about Duryodhana and Yudhishthir. But sir, in municipal corporations, we are playing a role of Arjun. We don't know what to do. At the one end, pollution control boards are saying these are the rules. You have to follow these rules. Other end, citizens are dragging us, literally dragging us to courts, high courts, and telling us that okay, you are not following the rules. So courts are asking us to file the affidavits and what you are going to do and how. Governments are making rules, and we are asked to obey those rules. So like Arjuna, we don't know what to do. In Mumbai, we have a population of say 1 crore and 25 lakhs. In addition, floating population of say 60 lakhs. So we have an area of merely 437 square kilometer. That is a density of over 30,000 per square kilometer. Can you imagine? 30,000 people per square kilometer, and you can imagine the generation of refuse, garbage and whatever. We estimate, we don't know much exactly what is the generation, but we estimate that it must be around 8,000 tons per day. In addition to that, there is silt and debris of say 2,000, 2,500 tons per day. So that is over 1,000 tons per day. What do we do with this? And there are rules that we should process all MSW generated. We cannot throw it as we have been doing for so many years. See, our first landfill site, we call it landfill site, but it is just haphazard dumping of waste. So it was started during British era, and we have been continuing that. There are legal, dictates from courts that you shut down this facility, you start the new facility.